I'm scared. I'm worried. I don't want to think the worst. Where is she?
An overnight discovery near Harry Reid International Airport, bringing a tragic end to the search for 63-year-old Alisa Goods. Officers responded near Terminal 1 around 1:45 Thursday morning after a body was found.
A woman is lying at the bottom of an embankment, just a few hundred feet from one of the busiest airports in America. Planes are taking off over her head. Cars are passing on the road above. And nobody sees her, because from the street, from the parking garage, from every angle a passerby might look, she is invisible. Surveillance cameras catch it, though. They catch her falling, getting back up, falling again, and then nothing. No more movement, just stillness in a drainage ditch, while 3 miles away, her family is calling her phone, and someone else is answering it. Someone who is not her. Someone asking for Bitcoin. For 12 days, a 63-year-old grandmother named Alisa Goods was considered missing. Alive, maybe hurt, maybe scammed, maybe worse. And this entire time, the truth was sitting on a hard drive in an airport security office, in a video file nobody had reviewed yet. This is the kind of case that messes with your head, because it's not really a mystery about what happened. It's a mystery about what everyone around her didn't see, didn't catch, didn't ask in time. And by the end of this video, I think you're going to be asking the same questions I am. Before we go further, I need to ask you for something. Cases like this only get the attention they deserve when people like you decide they matter. Alisa's story almost didn't make national news. Her family had to fight for coverage, fight for detectives to take it seriously, fight to be heard. So if you're the kind of person who believes every missing person deserves a search this thorough, hit subscribe, hit that bell, and like this video before we go further. It costs you nothing, and it tells the algorithm that stories like Alisa's matter. Do it for her family. Do it for every family out there right now, waiting the way they waited. Okay, let's talk about who Alisa Goods actually was. Family called her Lisa. She was a grandmother of 5, originally from Newark, New Jersey, but for years she'd been living on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And everyone who talks about her uses almost the exact same language. Her niece, Alana Calloway, described her as a superstar, said she lights up any room she walks into, said people just gravitate toward her. That kind of description matters more than you'd think in a case like this, because it tells you Alisa wasn't someone who disappeared into the background of her own life. She was a presence, someone people noticed when she was there, and someone people noticed almost immediately when she wasn't. She'd had some recent surgeries. Her daughter, Kristen, said it made it considerably harder for her mother to walk on this particular trip. She didn't drive. She walked with a limp. She used a cane. This is a woman who, physically, was more vulnerable on this trip to Las Vegas than she might have been on previous ones. And here's the thing. This wasn't her first time in Vegas. She'd been there before. She was staying with a friend, a man named Roger John, who she'd known for close to 9 years. This was actually her second visit to Las Vegas that same year. Taking the bus to get around, going out on her own to run errands, none of that was unusual behavior for her. She knew the city. She had a routine there. On August 8th, a Saturday, she left Roger's apartment to take a bus to a CVS near Paradise Road and East Harmon Avenue. She needed to pick up medication, iron pills specifically. A completely ordinary task. The kind of thing she'd probably done 100 times in her life. She never came back. Now here's where the psychology of this really starts. Roger John notified the family that same evening that something felt wrong. But he didn't file a missing person report for 2 more days. 2 days. When you're looking at behavior patterns in cases like this, that gap always draws attention. Not because it necessarily means anything sinister. People delay for all kinds of reasons. Panic, disbelief, hoping she'll just turn up, uncertainty about whether it's serious enough yet. But it's a gap that costs time. And in a missing persons case, time is the one resource you can't get back. The family, understandably, had questions about him, but police cleared him early on. He wasn't a suspect. He reportedly helped hand out missing person flyers around the city, trying to help find her. Kristen Goods herself told reporters that to the family, he wasn't a threat, and there wasn't anything to investigate about what he knew. So if it wasn't him, then what happened to Alisa between leaving that apartment and the moment she vanished from every camera, every witness, every trace? This is where the case stops being simple. 2 days after she went missing, on August 12th, the family tried calling her iPhone. It rang, went to voicemail. Normal so far. But later that same night, someone picked up, and then hung up. Then the text started. Someone, texting from Alisa's own phone number, began reaching out to her niece, Alana. And at first, it's almost mundane. A message asking, "Are you trying to get gas right now for the car?" Alana replies, confused. The person says yes. Except Alisa doesn't drive. She didn't have a car. She hadn't rented one on this trip. So immediately, this doesn't add up. Then the messages shift. Whoever's texting claims their bank card stopped working. They need money. They ask if Alana knows how to send Bitcoin through Cash App. They say it's the only way they can get money out. They offer to send a Bitcoin wallet address. When Alana, desperate and scared, asks to video call, whoever's on the other end says they're at a gas station, can't talk right now. Then pivots. Send the money so I can fix my phone, and I'll call you. Now put yourself in Alana's position for a second. You don't know if this is your aunt in danger, being coerced into sending these messages. You don't know if it's a scammer who somehow got access to her phone. You don't know if she's hurt somewhere, and this is the only lifeline you have to her. So Alana does what almost anyone would do. She tries to keep the conversation going, hoping it leads somewhere. She sends $40, then $50. Not because she's naive, but because when it's family, you don't take the risk of hanging up on the one thread you have. Meanwhile, Alisa's son also gets a phone call. The family records part of it, and they're unified on one thing. That voice was not hers. So now you have a family, already terrified, now convinced someone might be holding their mother's phone, maybe holding her, running a manipulation campaign in real time while she's missing. It's one of the cruelest possible situations, because grief and hope get tangled together with active deception. You don't know whether to keep negotiating or to be afraid that negotiating is exactly what's being weaponized against you. Police, when they eventually weighed in, offered a different theory. They said there was nothing in their investigation suggesting Alisa was in immediate danger, and they floated the idea that this might be spoofing. A common scam tactic where fraudsters disguise a phone number to make it look like it's coming from someone else's device, without ever actually having that device or that person. That's a real possibility. It happens constantly with missing persons cases. Unfortunately, opportunistic predators scanning news and social media for vulnerable families, then trying to exploit their panic for a quick payout. If that's what happened here, it's disgusting, but it's also, tragically, not new. But here's what makes this case sit differently. If it truly was random spoofing, completely disconnected from Alisa herself, that's one kind of horror. If somehow the scammer had contact with her phone directly, that's a different, much darker possibility. And as of the most recent reporting, investigators haven't publicly resolved which one it was. The family, in the middle of all this, is doing everything they can. Kristen flew from New Jersey to Las Vegas to search in person. She told reporters she checked hospitals. She checked morgues. She spoke with detectives directly and came away without new information. The family has said they felt like the investigation moved too slowly at first, that it took days for the case to land on a detective's desk after the report was filed. And this is where I want you to sit with something for a second. This case, according to advocates who track missing persons coverage, got limited national attention early on. Organizations like the Black and Missing Foundation have spent years pointing out this exact pattern, that missing black women and women of color often don't get the same urgency, the same media saturation, the same public search effort that other cases get. Alisa's family felt that gap directly while they were living through the worst 2 weeks of their lives. Now here's the twist, the one that recontextualizes everything. After nearly 2 weeks of searching, hospitals, morgues, hopeful theories about kidnapping, all of it, police reviewed airport surveillance footage, and it showed something that had apparently been sitting there the entire time. On August 8th, the very day she disappeared, a woman believed to be Alisa is seen near Harry Reid International Airport in the afternoon. The footage shows her falling down an embankment, getting back up, and then falling again, this time collapsing. Police say there was no further movement observed after that point. Her location, they said, could not be seen from the street. She had been there, essentially the entire time. Not kidnapped, Not trafficked across the country, just down an embankment, out of sight, close to a road full of people, close to an airport full of thousands of travelers a day, and completely invisible. Her body was found on August 20th in a drainage ditch near Wayne Newton Boulevard in the Terminal 1 parking garage. Someone called it in around 1:45 in the morning. Think about that timeline for a second. 12 days of searching. 12 days of a family calling hospitals, checking jails, negotiating with a phone number that may or may not have belonged to a scammer. And this entire time, the answer to where she physically was had already been recorded on video from day one. As of the most recent reporting, the Clark County Coroner's Office had not released an official cause or manner of death. Police have said they haven't found evidence of foul play, and they aren't calling it a homicide investigation. But there are still real, unanswered questions. How exactly did she end up at that location, a real distance from the CVS she was last confirmed to have reached? Whether her mobility issues, the surgeries, the limp, the cane, played a direct role in that fall. And why footage that could have solved this case within days sat in review for nearly 2 weeks. So here's what I want you to think about. When someone we love goes missing, our minds almost always jump to human threats. Kidnapping, trafficking, a dangerous stranger. Because that narrative, as terrifying as it is, gives us something to fight against, someone to blame, someone to search for. What's harder to sit with a scenario where there's no villain at all? Just a body that couldn't be seen from a public road, and a system that took too long to look in the right place. Does a delay in filing that initial report change how you see this case? Do you think the scam texts were completely random? Or do you think there's more to that story than spoofing? And when you think about how differently this case might have played out with faster media attention, faster surveillance review, what does that tell you about the gaps that exist in how we search for the people we love? I want to hear your theory. Drop it in the comments. Tell me what stands out to you the most in this case, because these conversations are exactly why this channel exists. If you want more deep dives into the psychology behind cases like this one, the patterns, the behavior, the human decisions that shape how these stories unfold, subscribe to Psychology of Crime, and I'll see you in the next one.